Welcome everybody, welcome to another video. I just recently saw a video kind of reviewing this knife right here. It's got fingerprints all over it. It's hard to keep the fingerprints off this one. This one's the Dam Designs Fenrir, I guess is how you pronounce it. Let's just say that is how you pronounce it for the purposes of this video. It's a classic Wharncliffe style blade, very highly polished. As a matter of fact, I'm having to run my camera quite low on the light in order to get the keep this thing from just blinding the camera. You can't see squat. G10 scales, deep carry pocket clip, and jimping right here. Good Filipino grip. That's really nice and comfortable right there. I can barely feel the pocket clip if I squeeze real hard like that. So it's, it's quite comfortable. This hump right here is a bit of a hot spot for me. Not real bad or anything. If I had to say something at all, it just kind of depends on where your hand lands, but not a big deal. I will say that that this D2 blade comes in D2, and for me, the blade went dull pretty quick out of the box. I got to tell you guys, to be completely honest, for the sake of transparency, D2 has not been good to me. I've had pretty bad luck with D2 as far as what I expect it to do and what it actually does. The only thing good about the initial edge is I will say that it did not chip. I put it through some punishment and it never chipped. Once I sharpened it, and then I did the recommended sharpening from Knee's Knives, he recommended not to go above 1,000 grit, and I did not. I took it to about 800 grit, so it's toothy. It's a little toothy, definitely not a super polished edge, and that seems to have fixed the problem. I haven't had any edge issues since, and it strops back pretty good, but I guess as far as blade steel goes, D2 for me is more work than you get out of it. That's just my personal opinion on D2. It just seems like if you take into account how hard it is to sharpen, I'm not saying I can't sharpen it, I'm just saying if you chip D2, you're going to pay a price. So taking into account how it sharpens and then how long it holds an edge, and I'm going to say good D2 is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, S35-ish, area. It's definitely below, but not, probably not by much. Sometimes you can get more. I've seen people test D2 edges that go, that hold an edge longer than typical S35. So anyway, just for the purpose of discussion, somewhere in that general vicinity. But if I'm being honest, not my absolute favorite. I would avoid it if I could. If there was another choice, let's say AUS 10, I would take AUS 10 if we're talking budget steels. This knife is reportedly made by Kubi. Kubi has AUS 10. They do AUS 10 quite well. I have some of their knives in AUS 10. Been very happy with their AUS 10. I would rather see it in AUS 10. I'd rather pay 10 bucks more for this knife and have it in AUS 10 than in D2. That's my personal opinion. There's nothing wrong with this D2. It works. As far as the action goes, it's quite nice. It's not, super high-end drop shutty, but it's very smooth. Nothing wrong with it at all. It's a flipper only, and you cannot thumb flick it at all, but you can pinch flick it if you're familiar with that technique. And, as long as you can get yourself a grip on the blade, sometimes it slips off, very polished, high polished blade. Sometimes you can't get a grip on it, but yeah, so those are the ways you can deploy it, but for the most part, it is a flipper. The detent is rock solid, and I do say perfect. There is zero detent lash, none whatsoever on my sample. There is zero blade play at all, nothing. It's actually quite good. You can close it like this, quite easily. It's, you know, it's a good fidgeter. It's not bad at all. On my particular sample, the two things I've been watching other people review this knife, and the complaints, I will go over them. Some of the complaints that I have seen others say. Pocket clip, screws not completely recessed. I don't know if it's going to show up, but on mine, they are completely recessed. The screws do not stick up. Pocket clip sticking up higher than the back of the knife. I like that. That's something that I like. I guess your mileage will vary on that. I like it to carry as deep as possible. And the reason why I like that is because I like this part of a clip to be out of the way of my hand. And I just feel the farther we get the clip back, the less likely it is to bother my hand. And the other one was, a guy reported that the blade hits the backspacer. On mine, that is not the case at all. It is not hitting the backspacer at all. So that's another thing that maybe later knives, they corrected some of these issues. So really good utility blade, EDC blade. It rocks, it destroys boxes, just goes right through them. You push this point into something, tons of power, push the point into something, drag it back. It excels at draw cuts. Not so much at push cutting because of the flat edge, but draw cutting, utility cuts, excellent knife for that. It does remind me a lot of another knife, and I haven't seen anybody mention this, so I'm going to go ahead and mention it. This is what it reminds me of. There's the Spyderco Yojimbo, and again, I like to do this in my knife reviews because let's say you can't afford this Spyderco Yojimbo, not in a disparaging way, like you can't justify buying a Yojimbo. And there's plenty of people out there whose money is tight. You really love the Yojimbo. The Yojimbo is awesome, you know, to you. You like it. It speaks to you. Well, this knife right here gets you about, you know, 75% of the way there. You know, it's got a really aggressive Wharncliffe blade, just like the Yojimbo. They're about the same blade length. The handles feel similar, although, you know, the Yojimbo is definitely better. I'm not saying that the Yojimbo is not better in every single way. I'm just saying for, you know, what's this knife cost? 55, 60 bucks. This'll get you the close to experience of the Yojimbo. The biggest difference between the two is, you know, this one being a flipper and this one not being a flipper. And, you know, that's going to be something you prefer one way or another. I prefer the Yojimbo's thumb hole, thumb flick, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I prefer. But that's what this knife reminds me of. Let's get some measurements real quick before we close out. The blade is 158 thousandths at the thickest, tapering to about 90 thousandths. Thickness behind the edge. See if I can get you thickness behind the edge. Let me get that straight. It's about 19 thousandths. I'm getting 19 thousandths behind the edge. That's not bad, especially for a knife meant to be used as a utility cutter. When I'm using this knife, you can really just bear down on the tip, and it's just really good for, you know, grip like this, draw cuts like this, pushing into boxes, putting that tip into the flap of a box and just wiggling it if you need to get into a box without damaging anything. You just kind of stick the tip in and jiggle it like that. That's what she said. You just kind of skate across the seam like that, and you're in that box lickety-split without damaging the contents. Wharncliffes are my favorite blade design for EDC. There's no, you know, I haven't ever hid that. That's something that is for sure something that I like. I didn't get the blade length. Let's just kind of use the calipers. Why not? Blade length for me, measuring it from I'm getting 3.2. You know, edge is probably going to be somewhere in that similar range. No, actually the edge is coming out about just under 3.5 or 3.5. So, yeah, so that's probably gonna, you know, qualify as a 3.5 inch blade. Handle length. Handle length, we're getting, you know, 4.6 inches. You know, it's got a good handle and it's shaped in such a way that it's not bad. Grip thickness on this thing, I think is a bit chunkier than normal. It is slightly chunkier than normal, about 55 thousandths or so. About just a tick over a half an inch for those of you in America. So there you have it, guys. There's my review on the Dam Designs Fenrir, and I like it for the money. I got it because of the blade shape. I don't have any of the other ones that they released. I don't know what those are like, but this is the one that I did get, and like other people have stated, it's pretty impressive for the money for sure. And since it's made by Kubi, I can kind of see some of the you know, some of the similarities with other Kubi knives that I have, you know, that I have used in the past. So, with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate you. We'll get you on the next one. And comment in the comments if you have any questions or anything like that. If you'd like to comment on the video, please do. And we'll get you on the next go round. On that end.